I came in jazz wasn't. You go in a jazz club or a jazz bar, it'll be like a piano player. Well, they might have. I'm saying that they didn't have a complete band, a
Yeah.
complete quartet, or quintet, or whatever. It wasn't a place like that. Like at Odom Cave, they would go there and sit in. You know, Kenny Cox, Frank Morello, Roy Brooks, the people in that era. That's where we played jazz. There was a very few jazz followers in those days. See, and because I remember Freddie Hubbard was in a club next door to on Dexter, next to the X Choir. It was a little club back there. Wasn't much bigger than this room here, really.
Man.
I mean, he didn't have enough room. His stage is honest. His stage was just enough room for him to be on the stage by himself, and they was all cramped up there. It wasn't a stage that had a platform about so high.
Yeah.
And because I was there with him, and he had that tune called "The Breaking Point," and nobody want to hear that, you know. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. But anyway, he came out, and I liked that tune. Everybody liked Lee Morgan at at the time. They was in love with Lee Morgan. So Freddie Hubbard was over there, and I stayed until he closed up.
Yeah.
Drove him downtown to a hotel behind the Fox Theater.
Okay.
I didn't know it was a hotel back there then. But it's still down there now, little hotel. And he was up on the end back. I sit there with him all night. And we was talking about Breaking Point. Man. And because I had it in the store in there, I was selling it, the Breaking Point. And that's it, But anyway, yeah, but things change. And then Freddie, he never, when he in town, he would come by a couple of times. He came over the house for dinner once. Yeah, the whole band did.
Man.
Oh, guys, that was back in the day.
Yeah. That's amazing.
And I saw him at the Punches Ring up on the terrace.
Yeah.
And I was in the crowd, and I had on a captain hat, and it was white. It was hot. It's summertime,
Yeah.
The captain hat with the gold. I had that on. So he saw me in the audience, and he pointed at me from on the stage.
Man.
Like that, to come to the back, and I waited around, and he came up. And I think that's the last time that I saw him alive. Yeah.
What an honor. He remembered you and fondly.
Yeah, like, because I got his records played. We talk. I mean, everybody was going for Lee Morgan at the time.
Yeah.
Because he had came on the scene. He played with Miles Davis and played in the bar in New York. I think he was just underage or just overage or something. He's very young. Yeah. And somebody that played with Miles Davis said something nice about Lee Morgan. Everybody liked him, but his girlfriend, his wife, or somebody killed him. He played. And he had his album on BJ label. Wayne Shorter had an album. And Lee Morgan had an album. He had some big boots. And he had a Covarda's haircut.
Okay.
At that time, I had a Covarda's haircut. And I had to set up in the window. Someone came in and thought I was Lee Morgan. Because I was in the window. Yeah, because my hair. They thought I was Barry Gordy, too, a couple of times. They came by somebody walking down the street and stopped and looked in.
How you carried yourself or how you're dressed?
I don't know.
Like kind of how. Yeah.
I don't look like Barry. I don't.
But you could just feel.
But he came and he asked me was I Barry Gordy. He thought I was Barry Gordy. Yeah.
Yeah, right, directly.
I don't know what gave him the idea. Yeah. But they thought about Lee Morgan because he had those boots on. He's on feet spreaded, and on the cover, and he was so. My window was all decorated,
Yeah.
And I had those labels in there, and Lee Morgan, and people, not people. I was doing the window one day, and a guy came out, I want to know what does that mean on the picture now. I said, look like that,
Man. and it's funny. You looked like him, and you knew him.
Well, no, I didn't know Lee Morgan.
You met.
No, I didn't get to meet him. I just had his album.
Oh, okay.
Because he wasn't on the scene that long before, he was in New York, but they didn't come travel to Detroit. I'm not going to New York. I went there once, and that's the last time I prayed, I think.
So like the top cities in America for entertainment. I'm just gonna throw out. You think of the coast, New York, L.A. Then you think of kind of in the middle, like Nashville or St. Louis. You know, New York, L.A. are number one. In Chicago, New York, L.A., Chicago, Detroit, is that second or third tier?
Well, see, on depend on.
It's number two, or it's not number one. Is it number two or number three?
What I'm saying,
Yeah.
depend. See, called East Coast, West Coast, and that
Chicago.
kind of thing. Right.
Yeah.
Well, see, I think I stated once before, when people left the South and went north and west, east, whatever.
Yeah.
People in Chicago are more like blues. That means they came from deep of the South and different part of the South. You know, that's what this to say, because they like blues.
Makes sense. Like the culture that they brought with
Right.
them to there.
A lot
was
of them migrate to Chicago.
Yeah.
From the deep South, and when they got there, they like blues.
Yeah.
And it's a blues city. In fact, I was over there, and a friend taking me down to. It was, I don't know what it's like. I don't know what to call it. But anyway, everybody got they got Chinatown places, you know. They have a place like that for
a little ethnic boroughs,
right.
Yeah.
And Detroit is a little bit different. And West Coast, the people like that, they like surfing music in the day.
Yeah.
Everybody don't know surfing. We ain't not surfing in Detroit.
Too cold, yeah.
Right. So
no waves.
The song was written by the boys.
Beach Boys.
Right.
Brian Wilson and brothers.
Those
and
hit, they was big hit on the West Coast at the time, right?
Yes, sir.
Because it's called surfing music.
Yes, sir. They were the best, undeniable.
Well, it's surfing music. New York played like bebop, jazz. They migrated from like Charlie Parker and them. It came from the South. They all went to New York, but they played a different kind of music in New York, the East Coast, than did in Chicago.
If New York played bebop jazz and a lot of jazz greats came from Detroit, what kind of jazz? What name was the jazz that came from Detroit? Was it just jazz?
Was there
bebop? A name? Oh, it was also bebop.
Right, bebop. We consider East Coast, but
interesting.
But we Northeast, really, right? We Northeast. But we consider the East Coast. What I'm saying is, like Don Bird, Barry Harris, Paul Chambers, the bass player. I can't. They all came from New York. I mean, from Detroit.
Yeah, I remember that you mentioned the bass
but
player.
They left here and they went to New York.
Yeah.
Why do you leave? Why you think you leave here to go someplace else? Because it's better there, right? If you want to move and going to play jazz, bebop jazz, that kind of thing, they came out of Detroit.
Yeah.
A lot of this hit. You take Mill Jackson, Elvin Jones, his brothers, you name them, came out of Detroit.
Yeah.
You know, but they didn't only just live in East Coast like that. They could have been in Chicago too. But jazz came out of Chicago. What big jazz? Well, Ramsey Lewis, you know, I think Eddie Harris. But I'm just saying. But most people, they left those cities, hometown, and they went to New York, cause there's more nightclubs in town.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get more gigs.
Yeah.
So in Detroit, it's not as many here because people leaving here going to New York.
Yeah.
That's what they sell. To get big hits, pop records, you need Vegas. You know, to get on Vegas, like Black wasn't appearing at Vegas, and you know what I'm saying? Back in the day, Lena Horne, Pearl Bailey, of course, those kind of people. You know, I'm talking about just ordinary people. They wouldn't, you know, Diana Ross did. Barry Gordy, Temptation, they got it. That was because of Donald Trump was in that at the time, see? But things have changed, you know? And so, but you go to a club in Detroit back in the day when I first came here, like I was saying, I went to a club on Dexter. I don't remember the name of it. It was a guy that played saxophone, I think a drummer, that's all was there. They didn't have a bass player.
Okay.
Didn't have a piano player. and wasn't nobody. Was a couple people in there. So and I don't know what scale they working on, but the man he got the club you can play, but he's not gonna pay you to. You know, it's not
Yeah.
enough money, and then if it is a little money, so they leave here to go to other place to get a job. So now if Jackie Wilson came on, he's shaking and stuff like that. Work out, you know, that's what people want to hear. And that was the 20 grand. And then people started dancing. Temptation came out with, they had a dance. They had a way that they danced. And everybody wanted to learn new dance. The Madison, everybody got together.
Yeah.
Uh,